Dr. Ghassemi, I wanted to come back to you, and you've listened to some of the back and forth testimony and some of the responses, both from the VA, from members here. You're outside of the VA, so you have the benefit of being removed from some of this internal stuff, and I'm curious, kind of what your thoughts are. To me, and to Mr. Luttrell's point, is we're trying to upgrade this legacy health record system on a, I guess, parallel track, to use the term you used. We're trying to modernize some of the easy lift items that can be done through assistive technology or augmented. I think somebody said in their testimony as well. Do you think that's achievable, number one? And, how do you think that the VA can do this responsibly to make sure that it's done in the appropriate way?
So the short answer is, I think it's achievable. How can it be done responsibly? It has to start first and foremost with unification of the data. I heard in earlier conversations that...
In unification of data, are you talking about having a singular system, or are you talking about the data itself not being fragmented across all these different VA facilities?
What I mean is that you need a singular way to represent the data so that an AI system that operates in one system can move and operate in another. Now, actually, the good news is that artificial intelligence can be used to help with that unification process itself. So I'll speak about some of my external experiences here and say why I think there's room to be hopeful. It's a common problem in industry for corporations to deal with. They have a large database of customers, or health systems have a large database of patients, and they want to enrich that with some data from outside of their ecosystem. That's a common problem. And so there's reconciliation of two complex data sets where column names in these data sets don't match, representations of values inside these data sets don't match. There's so many things that are misaligned here. But instead of thinking of AI's role as coming in after you've done a very heavy-duty and costly and inglorious task of aligning that data, you can use the AI tools to perform alignment of that data, right? To ask how you do the combination of the information, the debiasing considerations that were brought up earlier, and so on.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And how do you think balancing, the access to this and the benefit that comes from that with keeping the paramount interest of, veterans' consent and, privacy and all those things that we can't miss the mark on as well? I'd be interested in your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I think disclosure is really important, transparency. So, when we go to a supermarket and we turn around an item that's on the shelf, on the back is disclosed to us through the nutrition label what are the contents inside of the food that we purchase. In a similar way, if you think of care that we receive as an item, then we need a similar way to inspect what components, which parts of the ingredients in that care came from which sources. Did they come from a model that Oracle trained on their Cerner ecosystem? Did they come from an academic paper? Did they come from a clinician's judgment? So the traceability of that decision and making it transparent back to the end consumer of the care, which is the veteran, that's really important because they have a right to know how care is being derived prior to consenting to receive it. So I think that transparency sits at the beating heart of doing this correctly. And the reason there's trepidation, as far as I understand it, behind the use of AI, not just in healthcare, by the way, but in a large number of industries, is because the transparency is an issue, right? It could tell you hallucinations, right? I think maybe some of you have heard of this concept. If you haven't, I'll quickly define it, is when a model basically confidently tells you the wrong answer. There are ways to overcome this, they require some expertise, but it is solvable.
Thank you, appreciate it.